Garrett Blevins here with an overview of the California State Games 2016 powerlifting meet. The meet turned out really well. I had some issues earlier in the week. In fact, Monday morning, my back locked up on me, just spasmed because of some fatigue that had been building up as well as some driving that I'd been doing. And it didn't unlock until Thursday. Part of what I did through the week was increase my salt intake and try to hold as much water as I could. But that also made the water cut that I was doing pretty difficult for this meet. I had the sauna off about 4 pounds the day of the meet. However, once I got there, felt pretty good, got my fluids back in, probably was walking around during the meet about 234, so about 3 pounds that I had to change. I kind of like that personally as far as weight differentiation. I don't like to go for anything crazy like 8 to 10 pounds. I really like to stay in that 3 to 5 pound range when I'm trying to do a water cut. You'll see here this is a 694 squat. I thought this squat was going to be more difficult, but it ended up moving pretty well. The goal of the meet was to go 9 for 9, something I've never done before, and to be a little bit more conservative with my numbers and gain some momentum going into nationals. Before this meet, my previous best total was 2 years ago, and that was an 1873 total. And that's just not going to cut it anymore with some of the great lifters in the 105 class. Going to need mid-1900s or closer to 2,000 total to stay at the top. So that's what I'm working towards, and hopefully can build off of this meet to do that. In any case, squats moved pretty well. That's the most I've squatted at this body weight, though I have squatted a little more when I was about 10 pounds heavier. So I'm trying to get my body back up to the strength levels of when I was weighing 242. But do that at 231. Final bench here moved really well. Bench is the only lift that I can grind out, so on this day I definitely had another 2.5 kilos, maybe even another 5. I can grind real slow reps, especially for that last half of the lift on bench press. So that was very encouraging. Opened light on deadlift to make sure that it was just a smooth lift. Last heavy deadlift I had done was about 3 weeks out from this meet, and so my hips felt very fresh. That weight moved really well. I'm definitely feeling more comfortable with my sumo, especially with my setup, and I'm hoping to get back to some real actual PR numbers. The most I've ever pulled is 750, but that was on a Texas bar, which gives me a little bit more. It almost simulates a block pull because it's got more flex in it. But decided to go for a conservative third of 711. Definitely felt like I had more in this day, but this was the number I had picked. And honestly, other than the bench, really all these lifts looked almost like second attempts, and they felt really good. There were only 2 flights going for this session, and so there was very little rest in between, but that didn't seem to impact me too much and ended up being very happy with the meet performance. This weight moved quickly off the floor and all the way to lockout. You see Hanny back there with the finally expression on that lift. He's been working with me for a while. And it was good to get even a 10 kilogram PR of 1895. Looking forward to nationals, and I've used this verse many times, but it is just so appropriate at this time to come back to Galatians 6:9. Do not grow weary in doing good, and at the right time you will reap a harvest if you do not give up. And this is one of those things that's just so true in life, whether it's your job, your hobbies, your sports, your relationships, or your spiritual life. When you put in consistent work, when you keep doing what you're supposed to do, you will make progress. You will get better. Sometimes it doesn't come at the pace that you would like or in the way that you would like, but you can always become a better version of yourself. One of the things that I try to do in my life is to glorify God in no matter what circumstance that I'm in. If things are going my way, great. It's pretty easy to glorify God and thank Him when things are going well. But it's much more difficult to thank God and glorify Him in your life when things are not going the way that you want. But it's at times like that that Christians need to remember that God never promises to give us everything that we want. God never promises to become our genie, and if we just worship and serve Him on Sundays, then God will grant all our wishes for the week. That's not the type of existence that the Scriptures call us to. That's not the existence that Christ Jesus lived Himself. Sometimes God calls us to go into very uncomfortable places, to lay down our lives for others, whether that is literal or figurative. And the call of Christianity is the call to be like Christ, to walk the road of the cross, to consider the needs of others as of greater importance than our own. And that's hard. That's the time when you're sowing out your seed and you're wondering what's going to happen, what's going to come back, what's the harvest going to be. But the promise of God is that no matter what the outcomes, no matter what happens, good, bad, or otherwise, that you will in fact reap a harvest if you do not give up. Ultimately, that harvest and that hope for Christians is the resurrection of the body, that we will live forever. And it is that hope that drives us. Anyways, I'm kind of on a little bit of a theological rant, but that's where my head's been lately. And I'm just so thankful that God has granted me and graced me with the opportunity to lift and train and to have the support of my family, my wife, and so many people who are just really rooting for me. And I couldn't do it without them. So anyways, I hope wherever you're at out there that this was an encouragement to you and that you will stay on those gains as well. Blessings.